Good morning and welcome back to the Now Morning Show, where, as promised, we talking football, the TNT Premier Football League to be specific, and we are talking season 2. So rejoining us is Amiel Mohammed, the General Secretary for the TTPFL, and we're also joined by Chealeif, the marketing consultant for the TTPFL. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Good morning.
Technically, it's a welcome back, because back in November, you appraised us thoroughly of things that were happening as the league was kicking off, giving us a good bit of insight into some of the teams, their performances, even the restructuring and those sorts of details. But now it's time for an update. So, Amiel, tell us, since November to now, bring us up to speed.
Well, since from when last I've made the studio my home, we've made some great progress. We see that there's a lot of excitement generated for the league. People were really eager to get things back on the pitch. Once it was back on the pitch, we saw the fans coming out. We've even seen increased numbers from season 1, which is great for us, great for the entire environment, and it's great for Shea in his capacity. A lot of the credit would go down to him and his team for that work. And we just continuing to build momentum. We're seeing a couple of the teams starting to separate at the top of the table. And we do have some exciting clashes in that regard this weekend.
Now, before we get into those clashes, Shea, I want to have you come into that conversation, because it is a big reason that we saw the numbers growing, your work behind the scenes. So tell us a little bit as to what we can see moving into season 2. We knew we saw those posts, we got the social media going, we get new music maybe to come together with it. What are we doing come for season 2?
So for season 2, we can expect exactly what we did in season 1 and just building on that momentum. So we've ramped up the social media presence, we're more prevalent on TikTok as well to get the younger generation involved, a little less heavy on the traditional platforms, but again, being cost effective as the league does, that's the name of the game. We also have included we've included the fans and the public a lot as well. So at the matches, and even if you're unable to attend the matches, we have a lot of challenges, giving away season passes. So giving persons the opportunity to get involved, because you could sit down in the stands and say, it's easy to score a goal when a man misses. Ways, this man is...
Listen.
But we'd invite the fans to come down at halftime and open goal from half line, have a shot. Yeah, people walk on, hey, this is easy, just to give me the season pass. And when you reach, everybody will miss.
Problem.
So, yeah. So getting the fans involved, getting the public involved, and educating them as well on the league as it progresses.
Definitely bringing it alive there. So then let's get into it, Amiel. When we talk about the league, we have some top names that always come to mind. But you talked about some separation, who's leading the pack. Update us on what the table looks like.
Well, right now, we have the AC Port of Spain and the Police probably going 1 and 2 head-to-head thus far. But that doesn't say that defending champions Defence Force is literally in that mix as well. And then I believe we have Club Sando and then Terminix Lorcator Rangers. Importantly, this weekend, we have 4 out of those 5 teams playing each other. So we'll see if anybody starts to put any distance between each other.
This weekend. That means that we need to know where we're getting tickets, where we are actually going to in terms of locations. So, Amiel, you want to give me those details?
Well, we have a spread of matches this weekend. Tobago, as we know and we've mentioned before, is well represented with FC Phoenix. They will be playing Central FC on Friday in Tobago itself. We know that the Tobago crowd has been extremely supportive of them. We also have 1 or 2 matches in the Arima Velodrome on Sunday, and then we have AC Port of Spain playing Police on Friday. Right now, it's looking at that game will be played at the Police Barracks, and then Defence Force will play Terminix Lorcator Rangers as part of that doubleheader, possibly in the Barracks as well on Friday.
Now, when you were here back in November, you did explain to us or distinguish with us the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2. And as you mentioned, the Phoenix from Tobago would have been Tier 2 winners.
Correct.
Last time around, but they're in Tier 1 this time. So for those of us in layman terms who need the distinction, can you give us a little bit of a clarification again? How did that happen? What does that mean?
So Tier 1 and Tier 2 is essentially the top 2 divisions, Division 1 and Division 2. So Division 1, which is Tier 1, is the top and premier league in the country for the senior men's competition. Just below that would be Tier 2. And right now for this season in Tier 1 we have 11 teams, And then in Tier 2, we have 15 teams, which all represent a very wide array and representation of the various communities of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, Chealeif, that means that you got lots of different types of crowds coming out. If we're talking Trinidad, Tobago, north, south, east, west, how are we going to engage them a little bit more? I'm really looking forward to that season pass. I just want to know how I can earn it. And even if we can't earn it because we have 2 left feet and can't score, well, we can get it, what it entitles us to, and what other ways we could earn it other than trying to score a goal.
Right. So the season passes specifically, we have those available online.
Right.
So in our bio on our social media pages, we have a Linktree account where you can get fixtures, whatnot, and then there's an actual link to be able to purchase the season passes online. Once they purchase, we prepare a PDF version of the season pass, and it's cross-referenced with an actual list at the door. So don't think you could just create your own season pass and show. Sorry.
Download the graphics.
And in terms of reaching the various communities, different strokes for different folks. So in the areas that have less traffic per se, and more in the community, more of the community elements like Mahika, we would actually utilize the microphone cars that you would hear driving around saying, okay, well, they have a funeral announcement or there's an event happening. So we utilize those in those areas. We are in the process of erecting some billboards as well around Trinidad, so you can see these stars big and bold. And then we are also working on the website to be able to have one repository for all of the information moving forward.
I'm glad you talked about the billboards and getting to know the faces, because of course we connect with the teams because they represent us, but sometimes we don't know the individuals on the teams themselves. Can we get a little bit of insight going into season 2 on the individuals, more bio type situations, maybe more interviews where they come to the sets early in the morning? Are we going to see a bit of that this season around?
So we are working with the teams to have the more media ready players available for interviews. But on our social media channels presently, we do post pre-match interviews with the captains, the coaches. We do also post the top scorers, as well as the players to watch.
Beautiful. We definitely appreciate those. Getting to know the personalities and some insight is always good before a match. But speaking of before a match, remind us of locations again. This week, where are we heading? This weekend, rather?
This weekend on Friday, we will have a double header in Port of Spain, most likely the Police Barracks. That's AC Port of Spain versus Police, Defence Force versus Rangers. Then we have at the Larry Gomes on Friday, Club Sando will be playing Civic of Point Fortin. On Friday as well, we have Phoenix hosting Eagles, and then we have Prisons versus Caledonia on Sunday.
Everywhere is football. Now, guys, before I let you go, I have to ask 2 quick things. One, because I understand we have upcoming elections that will see, well, possibly see changes again to structure. Can you give us a little insight on, well, when is that happening and when we can expect the outcomes or results there?
Well, right now with the TTF and the Normalization Committee, we're at the back end of the Normalization Committee's tenure. The last phase of that would be the ratification of the new constitution, and then that will dovetail into the elections. Right now we're on a particular timeline working with the members, and that timeline would conclude with an elections in March once all the dominoes fall into place. So it is just a matter of continuing to work on that aspect. So we're working on the league, everyone is continuing to function as normal, all of the different aspects of the TTFA, and this is just another aspect of it.
Okay, well, best of luck when that happens. But speaking of dominoes falling, when we talk about these leagues and we tout them, we want to make sure that people are coming to support, because they're usually used as practices or steps towards greater titles. That means that we, the citizens, play a big role in supporting them and giving them that energy. But then in terms of the league, what are we going to see, well, developmental-wise or promotionally, to help these teams get closer to those CONCACAF titles, those Gold Cup titles, that prestige that we once really held?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, it's really just a matter of having them play professional football again, because as you would know, there was a 3-year hiatus for professional football in Trinidad, which also, and the trickle-down effect means that the national team then had less players to choose from. They weren't able to see players perform. So this, just having the teams play regularly, opens up the player pool to be able to choose to go to the national team and then to be able to compete internationally as well in the CONCACAF tournaments and the World Cup, etc.
Thank you so much. We look forward to it and we will support it. But before I forget, Phoenix versus Central, is it, Amiel?
Yes.
Central FC and Eagles are on a bye.
Yes.
I'm making sure I get it right because it's a lot to remember and a lot to support as we get ready for season 2 of the Trinidad and Tobago Premier Football League. Of course, saying thank you very much to no stranger to the show, Amiel Mohammed, the General Secretary of the TTPFL, and Chealeif, who is welcome to join us again any other time to give us updates as a marketing consultant for the TTPFL. Ladies and gentlemen, it's in our morning show, your Wednesday edition, and we've still got a little bit more, so stick around. We'll be back.